الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings commenting on the hadith, on the second hadith of Al-Arba'in Nawawiyya, which is known as Hadith Jibreel alayhi salam. And we are at the end of this hadith where Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam about الساعة. He said, قال فأخبرني عن الساعة. قال ما المسؤول عنها بأعلم من السائل. He said, the one who is being asked knows no more than the one who is asking. He said, قال فأخبرني عن أمارتها. Tell me about its signs. He said, صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تلد الأمة ربتها. That the mother will give birth to its master or to its mistress. And we explained that this means at the end of time, things will change and will be reversed, and children will treat their parents as if they are their masters. So they will treat them a bad treatment, just like masters in the past would treat their slaves. Then he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, وَأَن تَرَى الْحُفَاةَ الْعُرَاةَ الْعَالَةَ رِعَاءَ الشَّاءِ يَتَطَاوَلُونَ فِي الْبُنْيَانِ. Which means that you will see al-hufat, the barefooted ones, al-urat, the naked ones. That's what it means literally. Means those who don't even have enough clothing to cover themselves. Means those who are very poor, who don't cover themselves fully because of their poverty. Al-urata, al-alata means the poor ones. Al-alata. Ri'a al-sha'i means those who graze sheep. And also this means they're poor. يَتَطَاوَلُونَ فِي الْبُنْيَانِ. You will see them competing in building the tallest and the highest buildings. That is the other sign that our beloved sallallahu alayhi wasallam is mentioning in this hadith, which is also in brief a sign of the reverse of the affairs in this world. As Imam Nawawi summarized it, he says, أسافل الناس ترى أسافل الناس يصبحون أصحاب ثروة ظاهرة. Means that the people who are very poor, who don't have any status, they become very rich and they have positions and they're even ruling and being in the positions of leadership, etc., etc. So again, another sign of that, like things are twisted, things are reversed, just like the same thing about the parents and the children, same thing about these types of people. So here there are many points, inshallah, we're gonna try to comment on them very quickly to take some rulings and some benefits from this hadith. So those people, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam particularly mentioned ri'a al-sha'i, the shepherds. Particularly he mentioned that those who graze or raise sheep, and this also shows that they're even poorer or more poor than others, because those who raise camels, for example, they're much richer. So this is a sign that they are the Bedouins, Al-Arab, who lived in the deserts in the Arabia, who raise sheep, those who don't have even enough clothes to cover themselves fully, who are barefooted. So all this description is to who? To the Bedouins, to the Arab, to the Arabs in the peninsula who used to live there, and the people of Badia, the people of the desert, and those who are similar to them, who are poor. تُبْسَطُ لَهُمُ الدُّنْيَا. They will become very rich, and they will start boasting of one another of those tallest buildings. Now, how is that boasting? The scholars mentioned that maybe raising and building so many like floors or stories, or decorating and focusing on decorating and beautifying and ornamenting their houses or making it big as we see in our time. Now, there's a very important point here, that the signs of the hour, as the scholars mentioned, doesn't necessarily mean that these things are haram. Not everything that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that this is one of the signs of the Day of Judgment doesn't necessarily mean that this thing is haram. Building tall buildings is not haram by itself. Is not haram by itself. So these signs are not haram by themselves unless the Prophet ﷺ explained to us that this is something haram, or we take it from other ahadith. So here the point is about boasting of building tall buildings without need, only for boasting, only for pride, with extravagance, with just wasting the money, wasting the money of the ummah, of the people, just spending and spending without need, without limits, with israf, with tabdhir, with also violating the rights of others. That is what is meant in the hadith. We have a hadith from our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Sahih Bukhari, where he says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Muslimu, the Muslim will be given reward for everything except something that he puts in this dirt. Means, as in the other narration in Tirmidhi, except what he puts in building. So the scholars, they mention this means whatever you build that has no need, that you don't need, you're doing it just for boasting, just for showing off, just for showing others, that is something that you will not be rewarded for. And he said also sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the hadith narrated by Imam Ibn Abu Dawud and others, أما إن كل بناء وبال على صاحبه إلا مالا يعني ما لا بد منه. He's saying sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, every building will be resulted in punishment for his builder on the Day of Judgment, and will be like heavy on him on the Day of Judgment, means like will bring him punishment except what he needs, except for what he needs. So this means it is makruh to build those tall buildings and start, this country builds like I don't know how many 100 floors or whatever, tower or hotel or whatever, then the other country comes and just wants to show that we can do more. And subhanallah, those countries who are doing that in the Gulf, particularly Emirates, they're not even doing it like themselves. They're getting people from outside who are doing these tall building and doing the plans and doing they're not even doing it themselves. So they're even boasting of something that they even themselves did not do, which is a worse sin, to show off even of something that you yourself did not even do. So subhanallah, this is how they reached in our time, as we see. And Imam Ibn Hajar radiallahu anhu, he said, but not everything that is unneeded is necessarily sinful. He's saying sometimes you can get reward by what you're building because others might benefit from it. And this is similar also to the hadith in our beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's tradition, when he says in the authentic hadith, فراش للرجل وفراش لامرأته وفراش للضيف والرابع للشيطان. When he said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Sahih Muslim that you can have a mattress or a bed for yourself and for your wife, and one for your guests, in case you might have a guest. Okay, you have one extra, that's good, that's very nice, but the fourth is for shaitan. He's like, why would you have a fourth one? Why would you have a fourth one? So the idea is, you don't need to get something that you don't need, something that has no benefit. Also, this word يَتَطَاوَلُونَ, it shows that this person is building, as we mentioned, like 1 or 2 stories, and the other one is coming and building more, and the other is building 3 and 4, etc. So this tatawul is like competing and boasting. Subhanallah, Imam Ibn al-Mulaqin, he says very nice words. He says, فَتَنْصَرِفُ هِمَّتُهُمْ إِلَى تَشْيِيدِ الْمَبَانِي وَهَدْمِ الدِّينِ وَشَرِيفِ الْمَعَانِي. Their whole concern will be directed to making those physical tall buildings, but destroying the religion and the great values. Now, only like in the last like 10 years in particular, you can see this very clear among those people. You can see it very clear how they're attacking the religion. They're doing their best to harm Islam and Muslims. Wallahi, we can see it with our own eyes now. Especially now when we see, like just in these nights, when we see some Muslim countries who are trying to help the oppressed ones, trying to help Syrians, for example, and those ones who are only good in boasting, only good in spending and throwing and wasting money, they're even supporting the Russians and supporting the murderers who are making massacres against the Muslims, particularly in North Syria. And you see them now, they're happy with the massacres that are committed against the Turkish soldiers. Last night, you see them, they're happy and they're criticizing them as if inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. How the picture is twisted. They're happy with the killing of Muslims who came and who left their country to come and to help the oppressed ones in Syria and to defend them. They're happy that they are killed by the Russians. That's how the picture is twisted. That is of the signs of the day of judgment. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He said, فإذا كان الأمر في هذا الباب لا لمجرد البناء وليس للتفاخر فيه فلا بأس. He said it's not a problem if it is not for boasting and not for just extravagance and wasting money. And the hujurat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the chambers or the rooms of our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if someone would stand and stretch his hand, he will touch the roof. He will almost touch the roof. And when he destroyed it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam destroyed them, and he wanted to include them in the masjid, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib radiyallahu anhu, one of the greatest tabi'in, he said, وَلَيْتَ حُجُرَاتِ زَوْجَاتِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم بَقِيَتْ. He said, I wish the chambers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam remained as they were, so that people come and see how the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. He said, I wish they did not include them in the masjid and they kept it, but they had to because the Muslims expanded and they needed urgently more space, so they included them in the masjid. But he said, I wish they saw how it was. So this is from the extravagance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid us from, as he says in the Quran, وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah does not like those who are extravagant and those who waste money for no need. And also because it has connection of the heart with things that are unnecessary, putting time for things that are unnecessary, for decorating them and ornamenting them, and this will lead to forgetting about the akhirah. It's all about as-sa'ah, it's all about the day of judgment. So these things, just getting obsessed with these things, make you forget also about the akhirah and just be concerned of the dunya, of showing off, of just pride and boasting, and feeling safe or secure from death, etc., etc. And inshallah, we can stop here because the time is up. We have some little more to finish up this hadith and take general great lessons from this hadith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who listen to the speech and follow its best. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and accept from us and give relief to our brothers and sisters who are suffering everywhere. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the martyrs who are defending the oppressed ones everywhere. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give speedy shifa and recovery to the wounded ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, forgive our parents and our sheikhs, and those who taught us and those who have rights upon us. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Alhamdulillah.